God of War 4. I know there's a number missing on this first complaint about this game. This is God of War 4. This is another one of the many. This is the trope of bad video game naming conventions. Alright, so this is going to be spoiler free. I'm only about 12 hours into this game, and I say only. I mean, you would think, hey, 12 hours, I usually can beat God of War or God of War 3 or whatever in about 12 hours, or give or take maybe 3 or 4 hours, more than that. I get the sense that I have just barely started this game. I want that to sound like a great thing. Ooh, content. No. Okay. This is going to be a somewhat negative-ish review, not because the game is bad. This game is in fact very good. The thing is, this game is getting just 10 out of 10s raining down the sky on it, and this game does not deserve it. Okay, this game is very good. This is not the best game of the decade. This is not the game that made me fall in love with gaming again. This is not holy shit, it's amazing. This is what we should have been getting a little bit more regularly from our next-gen consoles that we have not been getting. Okay, because gaming's been in a real slump content-wise. Shit is even more formulaic than the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But this is a big step up in quality over the pack, and the pack is mediocre. Alright, I have a lot of problems with this game, but we're going to start with the bad pacing. I've only been to 2 areas, and the game has teased 10 or 12 areas to me. Now, the only thing I've personally had spoiled for me from seeing a couple reviews is the game teases at least 9 other realms to go to besides Midgard. You're not going to see all of them. Those are going to be withheld for DLC. The next thing is, I won't spoil anything, but depending on what you call a boss, I've fought either 2 bosses in 12 hours or 7. Because if you count anything that has a name and a health bar, it's like 7 bosses. If you count anything that's actually a fucking boss and not a cookie cutter, slightly buffed regular enemy that's really fucking easy to kill, and is just time consuming to chop down, yeah, that's not a good thing. The next thing is the game is huge. There's really big areas to go through. Really fucking big, especially for this series. And it's nice for the first few hours. And then after a while, you start to think, hey, they're giving me this big map. There's all these icons on this map. I wonder when they're going to introduce fast travel. 12 hours in, they haven't done it. If I want to go back and look for some shit that I can... Because there's a bit of a Metroidvania-esque, you don't have the item to open this thing type shit going on with just about everywhere in the game. And this game is not Kratos the God Killer, it's Kratos the Goody Collector. There's a million collectible type shit to do. Most of it's actually worth your time for crafting materials, because now there's craft Kratos' gear, customize his skills and shit type thing. We'll get to that. This backtracking is not good because there's no fast travel. There's get in a boat, sail across a big-ass fucking lake, crawl through like a crevice, crawl under the mountain, over the mountain, jump across this thing, hop, skip, and a jump just to get to the fucking store. If I want to go from this fight I just had to the store that's in the same area, it takes about 6 or 7 minutes. It's not a good thing. If I think, hey, I want to go back to this area that's about 6 hours ago because I just went, oh, I think I can open that chest over there now. Well, if I'm really determined to do that, I'm investing a lot more than 6 or 7 minutes to get back there. I have the strong feeling that, oh, I bet the story will throw me back in this area, because if I want to go there now, I will have to backtrack through about 4 fucking hours worth of gameplay, which of course, since these areas are clear, won't take 4 hours, but it'll probably take about 20 minutes minimum to get back to that starting area if I want to go back there. That's not a good thing. Then there's the all this teaser shit about why is Kratos here? Why does this god who's called the Stranger, it's a great way to stay spoiler free, that the god literally doesn't give you his name when you have the opening boss fight against him. Why the fuck does he know who Kratos is, but Kratos' son doesn't even really know who he is? You know, I was even starting to wonder if that's really his kid, or he just sort of adopted him after whatever this random chick he was banging died before the game even starts, so we don't know anything about her. Okay, Kratos is voice acted by a new voice actor, the guy who played Tilk from Stargate 1. He sounds nothing like Kratos, and I mean not even fucking close. Not necessarily a bad thing, because his job voice acting this character, who also looks and acts nothing like Kratos, is good. But he just doesn't sound like Kratos, but hey, he doesn't look like him or act like him either. Doesn't fight like him either. Gone is the isometric camera, fixed platforming, jumpy, hacky, slashy combat. It's been replaced by something of a somewhat of a fusion of a little bit of a Dark Souls and a lot of a third-person Skyrim-style combat focused around this throwing axe. Now, the combat I enjoy, but everyone's saying the combat is just awesome. Those people are fucking liars, okay? Or wrong, at the very least. I'm sure they like it, I like it, but the thing is, the throwing the axe is way more effective than actually fighting with it, because you get to stay away from mostly melee enemies, and you very relatively early on have the ability to parry projectiles sent your way. And so many of the enemies, even really early on, have unblockable attacks which render your cool retractable shield fucking useless, that you're going to be throwing the axe a lot. And throwing the axe is very repetitive. But hey, if you want to take the option of making the game slightly harder on yourself, because it's not really well balanced, you can wade in there with melee style. You can punch and kick, which looks really lame. The animation for punching and kicking is fucking lame. It is, however, by far the most effective way to kill literally fucking everything. Because your punches and kicks do just about the same amount of damage as the axe, and they're way more effective and are way more useful for using instant kill, stun grab, fatality executions a la Doom. The new Doom. So that's not really good. I still like to use the axe, and I look at this huge skill tree, and it's going like, hey, look at all these skills you can use. Most of them are useless and you'll never use them. So there's an illusion of depth. And a lot of the skills aren't terribly effective, and you'll have to get relatively good at the game to use some of the cooler and more effective ones, because this game's all about timing. You're going to spend a lot of time dodge rolling around like you're in Dark Souls, and because the enemies are very fast, a huge percent of them have unblockable attacks, so even though the parry option is fun and easy to use, it's only fun and easy to use on roughly 50% of the fucking enemies in the game so far. That's not a good thing. So I'm mostly just dodge rolling and punching motherfuckers constantly. I do sort of like the, again, sort of Metroid Castlevania-esque, these weapons are much more effective on these enemies. It feels much more RPG-y, and that's my kind of game, even more so than the 4 God of War games I beat. I think there's, 6? So this is technically like God of War 7. But the worst thing about the combat is actually the hit detection is Dark Souls 2 level, to reference that game again. It's really bad. The hit detection is just rage-inducingly bad, especially if you're playing on higher difficulties. You know, when so many enemies do metric fuckloads of damage, and this has got really bad difficulty scaling where the game starts out easy, really, really fucking hard, and like, holy shit, what the fuck is this combat? Why are there enemies that out-level me by a lot in this area? And then once you actually get some skills, get some weapons, you render Atreus the boy, you can turn him from relatively useless to holy shit, I could almost just play this game by commanding Atreus like he's Pikachu, use Thunderbolt. Not kidding about that, by the way. The game gets a lot easier, especially when they're throwing me the 5th or 6th cookie cutter troll giant whatever the fuck at me, and I don't even give a shit. I can stay a mile away from him, and me and Atreus just pepper him with guns. The bow. It just feels almost like Call of Duty, like bat, 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 from like way downtown. And this boss has no way to hit me because he has no ranged attacks, except for the world's most telegraphed, here, let me phone you 2 days ahead of time. I'm about to do a ground pound. Would you like to move 5 feet to the left in the next 30 fucking seconds? That's the only ranged attack the boss has. Really bad difficulty balancing. However, if you're in the same area code as that boss hitting the ground, you're going to get hit, and you're going to be raging a little bit, especially later on in the game, because it's not like, oh, that enemy missed by a few inches. It's not that enemy missed by a foot. It's not that enemy missed by 2 feet. It's, how in the fuck did that hit me? Levels of that. What the fuck is the hitbox here? What the fuck is this? Like, no, please nerf that. That is fucking ridiculous. Are you fucking kidding me? If this game is the most visually gorgeous, polished, really well voice acting, and the combat sounds are so fucking brutal and visceral that you'll be fiddling with your TV's volume knob back and forth. I mean, if you got all this great production value, fix the fucking hit detection. That's basic level shit, guys. Come on. But I mentioned the really badass sounds. It sounds great when you're slamming the axe into things, whether you're throwing it or hitting people with it. The guy who Tilk, I don't remember what the fuck this guy's name is. It doesn't say on the box. The voice actor does a very good job of doing the visceral, primal fucking roars and shit that Kratos does. So I don't really have a problem with him. It just bothers me that he sounds nothing like the previous 2 voice actors. Not even fucking close. But this is a big gripe as a God of War fan. The music. Where the fuck is the music? I can't complain about it and say it's bad because it's not fucking there. This game has constant stretches of no music, or that very Bethesda Elder Scrolls-esque just ethereal fucking background meditation music. And then if you're in combat, it's dun 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 dun. What happened to my the piece of shit song? Piece of shit, you piece of shit, piece of shit. Well, whoever the sound composer and music composer is for this game is a piece of shit. But the skyboxes, the animation quality, the level design is, besides the fact that it's really tedious to move back through areas, but the level design in terms of exploring is really engrossing. Everything feels really organic. It doesn't really feel video gamey, and in the puzzles don't even really feel contrived. One thing that may bother a lot of people is God of War, especially the first entry in the series, the real God of War, had relatively difficult puzzles that made you feel smart for figuring them out. That's Baby's first puzzle game. That's Skyrim puzzle game. And that's saying a lot. As in, that's a huge fucking insult to the puzzles in this game. When there even is puzzles in this game, and not just get the key to get the key to get the key, pull the lever to pull the lever type progressive bullshit that's not even a puzzle. The very few puzzles to open a few chests in this game that exist are basically like playing Where's Waldo. A lot of it is find the thing, break the thing, and the thing is hidden really fucking well. And if you're like me and are really desperately avoiding using guides to find shit on my first playthrough, you might spend 15 minutes looking for one thing to break so this fucking chest will open. That's not fun. That's really aggravating and fucking tedious. That's a huge insult. It's not I didn't like it that much. It's a fuck you. What the fuck were you thinking thing. And if I have to say that 3 or 4 times already in 15 minutes, or I can say the music, what the fuck were you thinking? The plot and the pacing of the plot. I mean, some of it's really interesting, but a lot of it is like, are you gonna move the fucking plot along? When I've spent, 12 hours in the game, and roughly 1/3 of that is me talking to a dwarf shopkeeper, especially when the dwarf shopkeeper is the only person giving me some exposition and any plot besides Kratos telling fucking fairy tales to his son while riding around a giant lake in a fucking boat, doing nothing but running over respawning barrels so I can get money to buy a fucking new bow. It's really tedious game. It's actually really bad. So, I haven't beat the whole game. I fought some of the really wowzer bosses that are like fucking amazing and just get your dick hard type bosses, and some of the fucking the cinematic sort of nature, the holy shit, I'm in a really fucking badass action movie type fights are really sweet. But unfortunately, a lot of the I'm in a really badass movie shit, it's not the gameplay. It's the cutscenes that happen in the middle of the boss fights. And then when the boss fights themselves are very simplistic and a lot of dodge the thing, get the thing, hit the boss so the boss lays down. And I know that's always been the God of War formula, but this is the worst it's actually been in terms of gameplay in the boss fight so far. This is actually the bottom of the God of War franchise, not the top. I know if you played this game and really love it, you might be so mad. But be honest, it's the cinematics and the animations that are cool. When you get down to you're in control of Kratos and the boss is actually trying to kill you, it kind of sucks. It's kind of actually bad, not good. It's kind of really simplistic and boring and fighting a giant dragon, but I'm really just sort of punching him in the toe until he lays down so I can get to the next cutscene type thing. Cutscenes are amazing, jaw-dropping. Gameplay, not so much. So, as of being somewhere between 1/7 and 1/4, or maybe even 1/2 of the way through this game, I don't know how many of the fucking 9 realms of the gods are locked off for DLC or not. I know at least one of them is. And I don't know exactly how far I am, because the bosses aren't really giving me a feeling of progression, because I jumped up from ogre, troll, dragon. Sorry, that's about the only spoiler. And I'm sure somewhere you've probably seen somebody post a meme. There's a dragon in this game. It's like Skyrim. I won't tell you any more than that. And you definitely won't expect when the dragon comes. It's pretty shocking. It's badly paced. I don't know how far I am through the game, because the previous God of Wars were like 15 hours tops. In this game, I'm close to 15 hours through, and nothing's really happened. I definitely haven't unlocked all the items, definitely haven't seen all the weapons, definitely haven't been to half of the places. I've been to 2 of the 9 realms. Fucking have the plot really hasn't moved. I don't really understand much more about Kratos or the boy, or the gods for that matter, than I did when I first met the stranger. Bad giving of information. It's like watching Lost, where it's like, hey, wait 4 seasons before you know what the fuck this thing even might be. Not good. So this is one of those things where if I have to give a score, it's really difficult, because some of the shit that's in this game is the best I've ever seen. And some of the shit that's in this game is a gigantic step backwards in quality for the series. And if you're a person who's all about the bells and whistles, about being drawn into a world, if you're about immersion, graphics, and cool factor, well, this game is a 10 out of 10. If you're looking for a complete game or gameplay and all the little nuances, and if you're a film snob like me, you're looking for how's the plot, how's the pacing, could this level be designed better, you're going way in the other direction. I'd say this balances out to an 8.5. Now, these days, I'm of the kind of person where I say every game starts at a 5, and as it pisses me off, it goes below 5, and as it really rocks my socks off, it goes towards 10. I've seen a lot of 10 level stuff in this game, stuff that is the coolest I've ever seen. Like I said, best graphics I've ever seen on console. This thing makes my PS4 as loud as a jet turbine. It is operating at peak capacity to render this motherfucker in 30 frames a second. It's visually gorgeous. The prettiest thing you'll ever see on console. Pretty good voice acting. Not the best I've ever seen. Far from the worst. It's pretty up there. You know, I'm really enjoying the cutscenes, really enjoying the immersive level of the world. The music is horrible. The gameplay is subpar. And the delivery of plot to me is really starting to piss me off. And of course, repetitive enemy types, repetitive boss types, that's a big no-no in a game like this. Really, dude, just to wrap this up, this is like an 8 out of 10. And I would love to be one of those 10 out of 10 type guys, because like I said, this game is a really welcome and awesome surprise. But, there's a lot that's seriously wrong with it. There's a lot that's unacceptably poor in quality. And I can't give it the 9 to 10 that you want to hear from me, especially if you're a big fan of the series like I am. So that wraps it up. And hey, maybe I'll come back and make an addendum and say, holy shit. You know, but I wanted to get this out here and to say that I want to like this game more than I do. And that's both a compliment and an insult. And this game is very, very, very good overall, and yet is extremely overrated by the general press. And I'm going to tell it to you straight. There's real problems here. But, okay, enough negative Nancy. I really like this game. I really recommend this game. And even with a bunch of it carved out for DLC, it's a lot for $60, motherfucker. Buy now, buy new. Support Santa Monica Studios. Buy this fucking game. I'm not kidding. Even after I just threw a fit, this is really good.